Alright, damage from the crash. This nose protective shield is still usable. I'll be putting that back on. The seam is there, and something inside rattling around. Let's take this thing apart. Alright, each of these screws are loosened enough to pull them out. A little bit of a crack here, and another one by that screw there. See how bad this is. See if I can't use a little epoxy, maybe a reinforcing piece to straighten that out. Okay, some of these screws are a little stubborn, but I got them for the most part. Should be able to re-glue this damage. However, this piece here is totally snapped off. I'm going to have to improvise something there. Alright, the inside looks pretty good. These connections here, these connections here, this there. Could be a little cleaner near the bottom, but I'm not seeing like water splash. That looks like it's just a dust collection. A little cleaning should do this just fine. But I really want to get to this split on the top to see what's broken there. Okay, so this water, or this dirt comes from the water. When I ride in the rain, it channels it down this way and through here. Interesting design note. These wires run right by that. Let's get a little light shining in there. I can't tell what that is they're attached to, but I can't just pull them out. Alright, I'm going to remove these screws and these screws, pull that handle off next. Okay, these batteries are held in pretty solid. However, this smaller pack here just comes right out. Apparently the double stick tape they used didn't do the trick. Fortunately, I've got some good carpet tape. I'm going to pull this out and re-stick it. A visual inspection of the wires has them seemingly damage-free, and after the accident it still was able to get me home, so that all makes sense. Now this little piece of padding here has come loose. I'm going to have to put that, re-glue that. I've just about finished cleaning up the double stick tape they used to put the battery in. These little bumpers here to hold them in place really aren't held in by much. There's a little minor adhesive there. Let's see what I can do to secure that a little better. I've added a little more padding in here. I glued the padding they already had down a little better, so in a stronger impact, this battery is a little more cushioning. Now this battery, I replaced the double stick tape with some good carpet tape. Try to squeeze it down in here where it was. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's throw a little bit of, leave that there like that. Here's a closer look at the split. Now, these screws never came out. They evidently broke the housing when the thing came apart. Another one right there. Another one right there. I'm going to need to do something creative in here if I'm going to need to get those. If I'm going to get those screws to line up again. I've got the support bolts out of there. These things here. Next, I've got to disconnect these wires so that I can take this off. I need to get a good record of where they went so that I can tell where they go back to. Alright, wires are labeled so I can put things back together where they go. And I look at the damage done here. The inside of the rim where the mud got kicked up from the tire. There's a little crack here where water can get in. But this compartment does not need to be completely sealed off. Each of these places here are where the screws anchored through. Here's the screw that's still in there. In all these places, the plastic has snapped off, so the screws just came right out with the other and stayed in the other side. I'm going to have to improvise a way to keep it together there. The bolts that go to the frame, they're all good, and there's no damage around here. That's good news, because that's where the main strength comes from. Now up here, I had used Gorilla Tape on top to keep water from seeping in from the top when it rained. That worked pretty well. However, some of the adhesive got into the on-off switch here, the power button. So when I push it in, it comes up slowly. Do that again, see if I get a better focus. Oh, that time it came up right. But anyway, I'm going to be cleaning some of that adhesive out of there. But it worked pretty well as far as keeping things dry. I'm going to redo that. Probably use a lot of Gorilla Tape on top to replace where the screws were. And but everything else seems to be in pretty good shape. Yeah, pull these screws out of here. They're not doing anything anymore. But all the wiring is good. The motherboard was good, and it did get me home. So it's just a matter of repairing the shell. Alright, repairs from the accident. Motor, the wheel, the electronics were all good. The only thing broken was this shell. All these little spaces here for screws inside, they cracked. So I've got to seal the top with Gorilla Tape. Now this is my old homemade power pad made from a roll of neoprene. In the replacement, I'm doing a little better job here with this little piece of closed cell foam gym mat to get this done. Alright. Took a while to take that thing apart and put it back together, but it's on its way to rolling again. Alright. We have the final product. The repairs. The several layers of Gorilla Tape replacing the screws that will no longer be able to keep it together. I've taken it out. You might be able to see some of the extra dirt on here. Homemade power pads. They are cut out of this exercise mat. Right here, it's sliced down the middle to be half the thickness, and then one piece on either side to hold it together. The foot plate fits snugly there. Little catch there. Open it. I've got reflective tape. It's not sticking very well. Perhaps I get more. Headlights working fine. Running lights are working fine. Thing back to 100%. I covered the power button again with the Gorilla Tape, but this time I folded it over so that the adhesive doesn't get down into the switch.